Hey tribe, Dawna here from Transformational Healing. And today I'm welcoming Daniella Waterhawk of Waterhawk Creations onto our video. Daniella has been a great inspiration to me for many years, both in our community at Brushwood Folklore Center and personally as we've gotten to know each other better. She is just a wonderful inspiration, and her husband, Don, live the world similar to my path, and also leading the community to encourage others and to inspire others with what we do and the offerings that we offer to people. But we also have very similar ethics with living with integrity and being humble and just loving the world and sending love out to it. So I'm going to welcome Daniella. Hey, Daniella, how are you doing today?
Hi, hello everyone. I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Very lovely day, even though it's very cold.
Very cold down in Florida this weekend, I hear.
It's having a personality crisis. It had winter, summer, spring, winter, and fall all this weekend. So It's a nice change.
You get to experience New England for a little while.
Yeah, without the snow. Been down here 24 years. So I might miss the snow for about 30 seconds and then I'm over it. Especially when I watch the videos or commercials, TV or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe a little bit about Don too, if you feel like adding that in, and about Waterhawk Creations and what you do, what you offer the world.
For myself, I'm a seeker. I have studied many different paths, religions. I'm a nature based spiritual person. So I kind of incorporate all the things that feel good for me out of the various studies that I have, encountered in my life. And yes, there's a strong undercurrent of a Native American path because of my husband, Don. There is a very similar connection though in that aspect, basically, that includes nature and which inspires me to create the art that I do. Our creations are based on things that we find in nature's. We're Unique Earth Essence Designs is our little surname, and it's things that may have been discarded by others. Definitely food items, because that's a big important factor in what we create. Things we find on the beach. And it's functional art, so you can use it in your daily life or ceremonial ways and adapt it to your own path. Don likes to call himself a Donite, and I'm a Daniella'ite, and we kind of follow our own paths, running parallel to each other. Though I have other interests than he does, and he has other interests as well. So we incorporate our spiritualities, each on an individual level. Don's art is very different than mine. He developed this after he retired from a deputy sheriff from Summit County, Ohio, which gave him the freedom to explore. And he started with Native American tools, which was very opening up to peoples at the time, at the late 80s. And then it developed into what we do today, using a fine pewter metal on our work. It's a lead-free metal as well, so you can use it with food and drink. And it has grown. We've changed, we've grown in different ways. We used to sell a lot to metaphysical stores and at pagan festivals. And then kind of after the recession in 2008, I went out and had to work and to keep us afloat. And then Don was going through a lot of physical stuff. He had crushed his elbow and was still in recovery with that. So about 2010, I borrowed some money from my mom and bought some materials and decided instead of selling directly to stores that we would go and do festivals. And we started with street fairs, pagan festivals, and Renaissance and pirate festivals. And in 2014, we kind of merged art into the art world. And we mostly do art shows, a few pagan festivals, and at this point, one really wonderful festival in Maryland, the Maryland Renaissance Fair. And so everything is meant to make people feel good. When you're out and about in life and you've had a hard day, you come home and you can pour yourself a glass of wine in one of our glasses. And we trust that it brings a little magical, whimsical feeling to your life to make you happy. And also maybe a little touch of spirituality. We do have magical tools like this is a wand that Don created, a tiger's eye, spirit quartz, labradorite wand, to help people with their own, spiritual path. I've started making mirrors, which I work a lot with mirror magic and energy. And our greatest teacher, when anyone asks, is always the answer from me is it's a reflection. You are your greatest teacher. And then we have some, our abalone shells that you can use for jewelry or sacred treasures or smudging. We definitely encourage people to put sand or something on the bottom so you don't scar the beauty of the shell. And then I get a little carried away and come up with like my little butterfly shells, which, see if you can get that a little closer. So you can kind of put water when you're doing magical work, and you can also put herbs and other things in that, or you can use it for salt and pepper. Whatever your path and whatever your goal is, we create it. And it's up to each individual person to kind of decide, how to use it. I feel like we build pieces, we create pieces for someone, and that some point in our lives, that person will walk into our life and be like, oh my God, I have to have that. And so we feel like as we're creating it, that its intention is for somebody out there. Kind of love what we do. I'm inspired by nature and encouraged, because really the encouragement comes from watching and looking how a seashell has grown, and how maybe this is a deer antler, mermaid shell. Mermaids are highly inspiration for me. And I really encourage people to find something that they love deep inside them and to go for it, and we can make mistakes. I know I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. There's no word failure in my dictionary. Mistakes are ways that we can learn and to do it better the next time. And sometimes we made a mistake, we do it, and then we make another mistake. But these are all things that help encourage us to keep going, and moving forward and doing something that we love.
I call them stepping stones. They're just little stepping stones. Whatever you think is blocking you, whatever you think is in your way, however you're feeling today, you just turn it into one step, and you can always move one step, even if that one step is just sitting up, or just brushing your hair because you're really in that, that far down into a depression right now. Just one little thing that you can do for you to take care of you.
Exactly. We all have those moments, right? Yeah. And sometimes we can feel so deep in the void, our shadow selves, but truly our shadows are parts of ourselves, because we're human. We live in a yin yang world. And, when we're in the shadows, I really encourage, everybody to look for that little spark of life. And like you said, step up using that stepping stone as a way to remember that there is good and there's balance out there.
And I think it's also important, not what we were planning on talking about today, but I think it's also important to, look into that shadow side. Because to me, all the shadow is just the things that you are not conscious about, the things that you don't see or can't see. And they could be hugely positive. They don't always have to be a negative thing that you're hiding. You could be hiding and unaware of one of your biggest strengths if you're not looking at it.
I totally agree. It's part of the spiritual awakening process, I believe. A lot of I use the word shadow because it's a reflection. It's like light behind something that casts the shadow. And it could be a real scary place. A lot of those things were recorded in our subconscious mind that were fear-based, or whatever, humility or whatever. We don't want to go down that line, but whatever it is for each individual person. And so I do encourage people to reflect on those things, because fear, I think, in the spiritual sense, is an ally, as in, oh, don't touch the hot stove because it'll burn your hand. Don't go down the dark alley because there might be something there that might, hurt you. Though the fears that hold us back from our most highest potential are the ones that are the most dangerous, really, because it keeps us from being our true self. And to me, we all have spirit within us, and our body is the temple that houses that spirit. And, we all have a purpose here. I really, truly believe it might be just a mom and a dad bringing special kids into the world. And that doesn't mean that that's not worthy as much as, let's say, Gandhi or somebody else. Everything is kind of a meant to be thing. So I encourage people in a safe place to slowly peel those little layers off, as in an onion, and just kind of look, and don't be afraid to reflect on yourself. And it doesn't happen overnight.
Oh, no, it does not.
It's not going to be like, oh yeah, I saw that part of myself. We are these multifaceted crystalline beings, light beings that are housed in here. And our ego, which really helps us be out in the world, it's just when the ego becomes the master. I encourage people to really listen to your intuition. Some people feel it in their gut. Some people might get a little feeling in their third eye. I get goosies a lot, to listen to those things, because that's the higher self within you kind of going, excuse me. I've had like minor depression since my teens, and sometimes I let things overcome me, and then all of a sudden there's a little spark of encouragement, usually from a song or a friend's words or something that passed by me on the internet, and I started paying attention. And then the more I paid attention, the more those things started coming towards me. And now I think, and I think like when I'm needing something, and I'll give a real quick example. I was like, oh, wouldn't it be cool to grow my own mushrooms? But I can't build a mushroom house, and I can't do that. And so the other day I'm on Facebook, and these curative mushroom ad popped up, because it's thousands of dollars, because you got to worry about so many things when you're growing mushrooms. And they're these little packets in a plastic bag, and it comes with the mycelia that you inject. And I was like, oh, now, of course, I didn't go out and buy it right away. One, I want to research the company, make sure that it's legit, because there's so much out there. But there might be another company that does those little boxes that might be worthy of trying it out. So my encouragement is to pay attention to the things around you. because oracles happen all the time.
They definitely do. And, you know, whatever you need to get yourself to feel like you're in balance is, you know, what you should pull in. And each person has different things that inspire them and encourage them to pull themselves back together, because we're each on our own path. And I think it's wonderful that we all have different paths, but that we can all, like you said, you and Don walk parallel, you know, that's similar to what Todd and I do. And, you know, I have slightly different path than he does, but we can manage to walk together and work together and do a lot of things just like you and Don do.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful thing. And not always are our paths like this. Sometimes it can go like that. Nothing is perfect. Spirit. Yeah, it is this like a DNA thing, right? Yep. And so I, you know, encourage people before you like, you know, if you feel slighted in any way, take a breath, ground yourself in the earth, and kind of keep it below the neck before you can really speak the words that, you know, and it's okay to say, you know, hey, that really hurt me. Can you be a little more clarifying in what your intentions were? Because we listen to the tone in a person's voice, we see their facial expressions. I know that I get misunderstood quite a bit in my life, you know, in many arenas. But, you know, I encourage the taking a breath first, grounding, you know, and then thinking before we speak. And it's not easy. It's just a process of growth, and you will get better as you do these practices more, you know. So yeah.
I definitely agree with that.
And some of the things that Dawna's had on her YouTube channel, those videos are amazing way to start, you know, and just taking 10 minutes or 5 minutes and starting that meditation. I encourage guided meditations to start, you know, because I can't be a yogi. First of all, I can't really sit in a yogi position with my back injury. And I used to not meditate because I thought I wasn't doing it right the way I'm supposed to do it, you know, sitting. This was years ago. And then I realized, well, I can meditate while I'm lying in bed.
Right. Just meditate right here.
Right. And in a comfortable position. And just as long as my neck is straight with an align, you know, I've been using guided meditations for a long time, listening to music with binary rhythms. And so I've incorporated from all the meditations I've learned what feels good for me. And so that's another encouraging thing that I wanted to put out for each and every person. It's different. You know, there's a Sufi master. I wish I can remember his name. I meant to look it up this week, but he talked about the many faces of God and which face do you represent? Because it's infinite and you are the one and only you in this incarnation. And so be who you are.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. It's like, you know, oh, it's okay for those yogis on a mountain to sit in that position for 24 hours. For me, I have to adjust it to my own body and my own mind. And so, yeah.
I think that's huge information. Be who you are. I think that's just vital. Thanks so much for sharing that. That's really.
Oh, yeah. It took, you know, a long time ago, someone used to talk to me. He was an elder in New York City, and he used to talk about being, like capital B, E, and then dash ING. And I never got it, you know. It's like, well, yeah, we're human beings, but we're human B, capital B, E, dash. So we're spirit being human. Yeah. We're spirit having a human experience, you know. And there's, you know, I look at it as a big radio, like an old AM, FM radio dial. There are
Yep.
some people that are here to teach us how not to be. They're on a lower frequency. And there are people that teach us how to be on a higher frequency. And most of us are in the middle, and we're slowly turning our spiritual dial to kind of vibe in a higher frequency and radiate the light so we can then be of service to others. And so, yeah, and it's hard to understand, some of these really negative things out there that people do to each other, and that to love them in that, way, but it's not their actions that I love. It's the little spark of spirit that's buried deep, so deep within that human being, that they've been hurt so much, or they're greedy or whatever, that they need to manipulate others and hurt others. That I don't condone at all. But
Right.
the spirit within the connection, because we are all part of the human consciousness. So that's what I love,
Yeah. I go very similarly that, we are all one. So learning how to love all parts of ourselves includes learning how to love all parts of others. And so we'll be talking a lot about love and compassion and those sorts of things on the channel in different videos too. And expanding that. So maybe I can have you come back for a compassion.
I would be honored. I would be honored. I want to say that Dawna introduced me as an inspiration. She's been a big inspiration for me as well. They're inspiring and encouraging, and really big encouraging person in my life. So I want to say thank you to that.
You're welcome.
And show people the gratitude when they have been an inspiration or an encouraging person in your life. Don't forget to thank them, and have that gratitude to, talking to the audience of, the gratitude part is like the biggest first step you can take. And sometimes we have to be thankful for the person that hurt us, because they showed us a part of ourselves, and that we can use that as a stepping stone to being a better person tomorrow. So.
Oh yeah, most definitely. So speaking about other people being mirrors for us, because, you've been a wonderful mirror for me, and I guess I for you back. I want to see that actual mirror that I'm seeing behind you. So it's the physical mirror, and tell me how you would use it in an inspirational way, besides just the fact that it's gorgeous.
Well, I will show you the mirror in its entirety. This is a lion claw scallop shell. A lot of restaurants, the big scallops, these are the guys that you're getting, you're eating. There is a piece of driftwood that I found on the beach, about 15-20 miles from our house, that 24 years down here, and we go to the same beach because it's very magical. And then I have an amethyst cluster here. There's amethyst and emeralds around, and black pearls. And then amazing, I don't know if you can get that color.
Labradorite. Oh.
And truly, I'll start with the idea and the concept of I need to make this mirror. And I like using the clamshells because it kind of has that mermaid feel to it. I have used other things, but mostly I use the clamshell. The driftwood energy, it's been like, floating in the ocean, and has sucked up all that really good ocean energy, the goddess of our beautiful oceans. Labradorite is a really great grounding stone. There's many uses for it, but to me, it kind of reflects negativity and helps me ground. So a lot of times when I'm in public, I will wear a labradorite necklace, especially when I'm flying. For some reason, I'm drawn to that aspect. And then amethyst, of course, is so healing. There's a beautiful little purple, I'm not sure if you can get it, little diamond shape, because that kind of represented me, the diamond of spirit within. And so for me, and it could be different for everybody, but it helps me to reflect. I used to not be able to look in mirrors. I didn't look at myself a lot. I didn't see what everybody else saw in me. I when people were like, "You're beautiful," I hardly ever wore makeup in my 20s and even into my 30s. My hair was disheveled. I just didn't. I guess I didn't see the beauty that people saw in me, and people would be like, "You're so beautiful," and I'm like, really? And so I started looking in the mirror trying to see. And of course, all I saw was all of my flaws, this pimple here, this dark spot there, the wrinkles, even now. I'll even go, wow, I'm looking older than I used to look. And then I immediately say, but I'm beautiful. I'm beautiful within and I'm beautiful without. And so that is one aspect. It's a great tool also for scrying, to talk to your spirit guides. My sister calls them special friends. They're the masters that you connect to, the gods and goddesses. I wasn't raised in a Christian background, but I connected to the Archangel Michael. So archangels and angels, they to me could be extraterrestrial beings. I don't know exactly what they are, but also the Native American, the ancestors, the elements, and then my family, my ancestors, because they're all inside of me in my cells. And they're also our guides and our teachers. And so you can use mirrors for that too. So it's kind of an encouraging tool. It could be a very discouraging tool at the same time. So a tool is kind of like the innocent little item, but you use it how you see fit. And so it can be both. So whatever tool it can be for you, eventually it will manifest as you do your work on yourself to a higher and higher level of vibration. The same with, like these are our little, we don't do very many of these. There are very few left. Our little altar tables. This one has a little water fairy. Abalone, we like labradorite, you can tell, lots of pearls in our work, amethyst, emeralds, and rubies. This too is kind of a tool that you could put a candle on and do candle work. And candle work everybody has their way of using it, but it's a great way when you are trying to be quiet in your head. Focusing on your breath and on the candle flame helps you to try to get the silence in your head, because that's when we hear spirit the most. I just recently learned that between 3 and 4, I think it was Wayne Dyer, which I've never really connected with him, but he popped up on my YouTube and he was talking about the subconscious stuff, and that's way later in and things that we could talk about. But he asked who gets up at between 3 and 4 in the morning, and a lot of people raised their hands. And he said that's the quietest time in the day, and that if you are up at that time, get out of bed and go outside, because that's when you can hear spirit the easiest. And I went, I'm going to try that. There have been times when I have inadvertently been up at that time and went outside and there were no crickets and there were no cars, and it was like, and I have a tinnitus problem, so that was in the background, but I went beyond the tinnitus and I'm like, it's so peaceful and quiet out there. And I just took a deep breath and just held it in. And I don't know if I didn't hear anything. I just for the first time actually heard a little voice in my ear that said hi. And I was like, did I really hear that? So I'm trusting, the more I'm working on this, that I will actually hear what they're saying instead of feeling it, and that me interpreting I'd like a more direct contact with that in a most perfect and positive way. So, yeah, so, even a glass could be utilized in a ritual ceremonial way by pouring, libations. So everything for us in our work can be I like to use the word muggle because mundane kind of has like a negative, and I like Harry Potter. But the muggle world, can be attracted to something, and maybe that little whisper of that spirit inside the piece will eventually help spark some form of understanding and connection to the all.
That's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful.
Oh, thank you. It's just do what we do, I'm trusting at some point that my honey will come out, Dawn, and talk a little bit, back to the world. But at this point, it's just me. And I'm gonna share his knowledge that I learned from him. And every day I do my meditations in the morning. I do a little meditation before, it's funny, I was like, okay, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And then when I'm done with it, it's like, I did 45 minutes, and it's through guided meditation. And then I might take a break and put on, there's some great golden light, music and the frequency of what we think is golden light. But I just kind of do my chakra thing, and then I just send out that light to the world and to the people that I love. And then I bring it out and out to all humans, all creep crawlies, two-legged, four-legged, winged, and then I kind of bring it back in to my heart, and then I plant the seed in my sacred. So, it's what I do. It's little pieces of tidbits that I've learned. So I encourage people to take that first step, listen to some of Dawna's videos. She has some great wisdom and knowledge, and the presentation is very comforting. And then branch out to, in other ways, and find out what is good for you individually as who you are, whatever path you pick. Tradition is great, but why can't we continue to create traditions?
We can definitely continue to create traditions because we each walk our own path. I truly believe that. So
yeah. It's been wonderful. Thank you for letting me share some of my what's in here. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome. So if they were interested in looking at some of your pieces a little bit up closer, where would they find them on the internet?
Well, we have I call it our web store, our web shop at waterhawkcreations.com. Please do find me on Instagram as Waterhawk Creations. I do a lot of posting there. I'm sort of stepping into, because Dawna has encouraged me to do a little bit of reels. We have a Facebook business page, and if you email Waterhawk at waterhawkcreations.com or DM me on Facebook, I will send you send me your Facebook profile handle, whatever it is, and you're welcome to join our Facebook group, Waterhawk Creations Musings, which is muses I use because what's an inspiration to you for creativity.
That's
and
right.
So those are my 3 platforms. I haven't ventured out far from that, but waterhawkcreations.com, you can sign up for our email list. We do have a special gift for joining, which is a little discount on your first order. And we have a sale every month, sometimes 2 sales, and also let people know where we're going to be showing at a festival of some kind. So those are our I used to call them mediums, and now they're called platforms. So those are our platforms.
Yeah. Well, I know it's a lot different trying to be everything online versus some of the in-person stuff. And I'm happy that some of our in-person stuff is being able to come back again. Like I'm teaching an in-person Reiki 1 class today. and really looking forward to being able to help those people on their journey to learning about Reiki and Reiki healing. So
Yeah, wonderful. That's awesome. I know that they're going to really learn a lot. You are a wonderful teacher.
well, thank
So,
you.
yeah.
And thank you for
Yeah.
being here. And tell Don that we need to get him on video somehow, somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. Even if he just tells us stories, he's got great stories, you know?
Yes, he does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I will work on him little by little.
All
So,
right. Well, thanks for joining us today. And
you.
many blessings to the tribe. And I hope to see you guys real soon.